If you're a fan of the Mustang, you know what that is. It's a brand new 2018 Mustang GT, and that one is in race red. And I recently had the chance to chat with the chief engineer of this vehicle and let you know everything you ever want to know.
So we were talking about how we styling kind of starts from concept.
Yep.
In this case, it was a really organic concept, so an eagle eye or a hawk's eye. And that was the concept we started off in the studio. And then the execution of how to create that imagery, right? If you look at all the details from the headlamp and basically creating, if you can imagine, the eye itself is basically the LED projector in the eye. And then you can kind of see as we basically create, in a bird's eye, you'll have all those little hatches around it, right? And that's how we created that, basically the chrome part. And then you can kind of see we take that through to a chroming process through these hatchings to basically give that whole organic feel. So when you look at it, it gives you something that looks alive, right? And that's always important to make something for styling on a Mustang, to get that emotion, that excitement, because styling is a big driver in the purchase considerations.
Now, I know that lights are something that's determined by local authorities, right, the government, and you're selling this car in the entire world.
Yeah,
so can you use those lights in?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah?
So it's really funny. So for DRLs function in Europe, right? So we had a big thing where we use signature lights in the non-European countries, but we wanted these signature lights to actually have a function when we went to Europe. So we actually had to pull the headlight rearward. So this length of the headlight on the 18 model year is actually a longer length of line. So when you actually can meet the European requirements for a daylight running lamp. So in essence, what we wanted to do with this car is meet all the markets but give the same appearance, so in the customer's eyes they all look the same.
But
same with
some things you got to change, right? The sequential lights in the back, those you can't have.
Right. So in essence, what we do is we run a higher power LED board to do DRLs, but it looks the same. Yeah. And in the rear we run just a different lens and a different, again, a higher driver board to basically do the turn function, and then the stop lights.
So talk to me about the hood vents, because those weren't on the European model.
Yes.
But there are in the current one.
Yeah, so in the current one we don't, because of head protection, we don't have hood vents on export, but when we designed this one, it was like this great engineering challenge. We actually dropped the hood an inch and actually put hood vents in, which is counterintuitive to an engineer, right? Because you're trying to create a lot of open space. So we're able to engineer the placement of these to basically for styling, and then we can get a compression zone below it for ped protection. And we're able to offer, in this case, we've gone to hood vents on all applications, all Mustang for 18, export everywhere, so everybody again gets that common look of the car. And for us, what was also nice when we brought the hood down, it was kind of the cornerstone of what we set up for the styling, because we wanted to get a sleeker look to it, and we knew we could bring it down because we did that on the Shelby. And then what we also did is we widened out the grille system by almost 3 inches, and that gives the car a improved aggressive stance. So not only sleeker, but if you look at it from a proportion standpoint, it gives it that more aggressive look because it widened out the front end.
Got a little bit of a shark's tooth.
Yep.
Yeah, was that on purpose?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So one of the big themes on a Mustang, we always take this surface and it overbites to create basically this angle to create a shark bite. So that's actually one of the key themes. In the other stuff we were able to do on the front end, we were able to go to LED fog lamps. So there's our fog lamp, and then the park turn function. So we open up a lot of real estate for actually a theme element that can basically, if you kind of get the feel for it, this theme element kind of comes up through here, and it gives you a nice aggressive look to it. Again, a more compact system to create a sleek look to the entire car.
How's the aero compared to the current model?
Yeah, so we improved probably about 5 to 10 counts depending on models, because we actually dropped the hood profile to get a sleeker look to it, and then we still have a good system off the back end. So a lot of stuff was really trying to take as much technology as we could to get a tight package in here and widen it out and lower it to give it that more aggressive stance.
In the intro I said everything you ever wanted to know. Of course not everything. Ford hasn't released the important numbers like horsepower, fuel economy, price, and so on, but I'm betting that this new GT is faster than the old one.
Right, so the V8 goes to basically port and direct injection. So what that does for us, we're able to create more power, get more fluid flow. So we've gone from basically an 8 injector system to a 16 injector system. So that gives you power and torque capability and fuel efficiency to basically get that fuel charge you need at the RPM you need that extra fuel. So from the perspective of the engine, right, we also have increased compression ratio from 11:1 to 12:1. We've actually increased the bore size a little bit because we've gone from a liner to a spray bore technology. So a lot of improvements in the engine itself. And then with that extra torque, we had to upgrade the driveline system. So the new transmission with the 10-speed, we're able to get a really good first gear, and we have, you know, overdrive gears available in the 10-speed, so you can get better launch performance and better fuel economy. And that helped us with torque capability versus the old 6-speed. And then we completely re-engineered the manual transmission, again, for torque capability on the V8s, so we can get more torque through the transmission, and we went to a twin disc dual mass flywheel system. So it's a similar approach that we use on the Shelby GT350. So basically you can get higher torque capability, but you don't have to have the heavy pedal efforts because you're splitting up the mechanical work that you would do with the clutch to basically still create a great connection between the engine and transmission for torque.
So I was driving the new Raptor with a 10-speed recently,
yeah,
and I noticed that the truck actually goes to 10th gear as low as maybe 35 miles an hour. Is the same thing happening?
It is about because we run a couple different axles.
Yeah.
We run like a 355 and a 373 on the car, so it's like around 40, 45, depending on the load condition. So yeah, you can get to 10th pretty quick, and then what we're able to do with the throttle control on the Mustang, we can go like 10 3s, 10 4s. So you can just, yeah. So we'll go direct 10 to a 3, 10 to a 4, 10 to a 5, depending on your request for torque from the throttle demand, so we can get that quick push for power right away.
Now,
how
about the exhaust note? Has that changed as well? Have you done that?
Yeah, so you know, from the driveline system, we've upgraded the half shafts, so all that stuff's been upgraded. What we also upgraded was we upgraded both cold end exhausts, so both muffler tunings. So for the base Mustang, we've gone to a larger muffler system, so we're able to get better control and a more pleasing tone. So we've been able to bring a little bit more tone into the car, a little bit more aggressive sound based on the feedback we got on the 15s. And then we've added the feature called active exhaust system that's available on the V8s, which is a system that's similar to what we do on the GT350 Shelbys, and it basically creates the ability to have a full open exhaust system when you want, and it gives us a lot better control to create even a more aggressive sound, but still control for moans and other error states.
So I have to ask this, on the 8 you're not augmenting the sound, right? But on the 4 you are inside.
Still using cancellation on the 4 to take out tones. The 8 is basically the way the sound's set up for it. We have a lot more presence from the exhaust system inside, and we still have the sound tubes that we use on the V8s. So inside, what the big thing we wanted to do is we wanted to really give the customer a real sense that anybody who buys a Mustang in 18 can see the difference. So we basically gone to a premium leather steering wheel.
It's really nice, really thick. It's got a lot of presence.
And then we've gone to a new push to start button that's you know, a true aluminum spun anodized to give it, again, the 2-touch features that you do most. You'll know that you've basically seen an upgraded car. The other thing what we want to do is we changed all the finishes around, so we got a little bit more consistency. From the satin is now going through a lot more of the parts, so there's not bright in satin. And then what we've done is we've actually offered an upgraded package for the interior, which is on the Premium Pluses, which has a wrapped and hand-stitched console and door inserts and a hand-stitched IP that we do in Saline, Michigan. And then what we also offer now, which will be standard on the global cars and available on Premium Plus, is a new 12-inch cluster. So it's a full digital 12-inch cluster.
It's customizable, right?
Yeah, it's very customizable. So it's got your ability to set up what you want for the way you drive your car. So from the stuff of selection of exhaust to MagneRide to steering. So all these functions that we've added, we give it an easy way that you can quickly, just with a couple button pushes, get your car into the...
And you still have line lock?
Yep, still have line lock. Okay. We'll be introducing line lock on the EcoBoost actually in 18.
Okay.
So,
no drift mode.
No drift mode. Yeah.
Did you think about drift mode?
No, not so much.
You don't need it, right?
Not so much. What we've been toying with is really trying to get since we have so much capability in a 10-speed transmission, is using our sport mode and our track mode to basically give the fastest shifts possible, right? So what we were looking at doing is using those modes to give really fast shifts So we have a track mode that we use for the Mustang that gives you that that setup that you do on a track with driving.
In terms of numbers, you guys haven't released a number yet. Pricing, MPG, horsepower.
No.
But none of that is.
None of that's released. So we're still in process of doing the testings for horsepower and fuel economy. So those are in process of right now. On the rear end, I think some of the big things we wanted to do is we wanted to make sure it was at a glance differentiation. So on the V8s, we've gone to quad tips.
I saw that. It's cool.
Yeah. It harkens back to a lot of the Shelbys we had in 13, so we really wanted to give a pop to the V8s in 18. And then the lower valence, we call it, is more aggressive, squared off. And then you look through the aggressiveness, we broadened off the deck lid spoiler that's standard with the performance pack.
There's a lot going on in the spoiler. I mean, look at all the shapes and all the... Did you run this through the wind tunnel to make sure that it actually looks good and performs?
Absolutely. There's a lot of engineering in that.
Going on in that.
Yeah. To get it to be balanced with the car, it actually took a lot of effort to get that spoiler to be aero neutral and also basically something that really follows the body line. So we had a lot of work between the studio teams and a lot of computational analysis to basically set this up. So this was all done analytically between the studio teams and the aero teams, and it was dead nuts.
So when you say aero neutral, it's not providing downforce?
Aero neutral to the setup.
Okay.
To the setup of the car, right? So you don't want to create too much downforce.
Right. What's the top speed of the GT?
155.
Electronically governed?
Yes.
Okay. So potentially it's probably faster.
Right.
Yeah.
From that perspective.
If you pull the fuse.
Right. So we electronically govern it to match up to the tires that from what we do for ratings. Right?
Yeah.
So that's the way we do it.
All right. Let me ask you my softball question. What's your favorite part of the new car?
My favorite part, I guess, from a powertrain perspective, I like the V8 manuals. I think we've done a lot of work to get that more powerful, sounds better, feels better with the synchronizers and the shifters and the clutch. So that system that we laid out with the acoustic response and the power and then the new manual transmission really is a lot of fun to drive.
So when do we get to drive it?
Yeah, no. So
Wait, let me cut to the real question. When will people get to buy it?
In the fall.
In the fall. So
yeah.
Sometime this year.
We'll get everybody behind the wheel. Yeah.
Is it faster, 0 to 60? You've probably done those.
Yeah, that would be our intent. Yes. Our intent, is a Mustang, right? We want to be faster 0 to 60, faster quarter mile,
everything,
faster on the track, right? You're always taking a Mustang to the next level using the technology that's available, right? So we're pulling in active exhaust, we're pulling in MagneRide. If you take a look at it, we've got the brand new Michelin PS4 tires, right? So these are brand new. It's one of the first applications in North America for an OE fitment. They're just fabulous. When you match them up with a MagneRide, it just makes a great car on the track.
And I can ask you, do you benchmark this against the Camaro, obviously? I mean, is there a Camaro sitting in your office and you're like, yeah, that's what we're going for? Or maybe they're going, that's what we're going for?
So Mustang is really, our goal is always to keep moving the Mustang forward.
Yeah.
We'll benchmark them Camaro once a year.
Yeah, to see where they're at.
But that's about it.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much. I really
Thanks.
appreciate taking the time and showing me the new Mustang. I can't wait to get behind the wheel.
Oh, no, it's a lot of fun.
Of course, the rubber hits the road when we get behind the wheel of this Mustang, and I promise you, we'll get our hands on this bad boy as soon as possible. And better yet, we'll give it to our race car driver to find out just how fast it really is. As always, this is Roman reporting for the Fast Lane Car. Check out tflcar.com for more news, views, and of course, real-world reviews. And don't forget to click over here for more coverage of the Chicago Auto Show. See you guys next time. Ciao.